Hello and welcome to the Daily Loop. Right, so the first one we've done in a while. Just again a situation with just not really having that much time. Same as last month. We'll do a roundup video for what's happened. Got a bit of time today, so hopefully we can play these matches. We have managed to play chunk of these senior matches. We just have to go through them quickly and also be doing other stuff at the same time, so we won't giving it 100% focus. Hopefully today we can give 100% focus on these remaining matches. Right, transfer bids. I think this guy ideally we would just sell, but I don't think we can because we don't have enough keepers. We need to get another keeper first. Not urgent, really, to be honest. And then the other one, I think this guy, he's our starting DMC. I don't really know what future he has this good for 19 years old, but for now, we're not going to sell him. I think all the training is complete at this point, and the academy trial list is very late on. Natural fitness came out 33. Agility's only 2. That's really not ideal, to be honest. Like, so ridiculously low. Especially, I think, in combination with the poor handling, it's not a good combination. I know we talk about this trio of pairing, handling, and agility, and the pairing is decent, which if it wasn't, it would be a disaster. But even just so, basically, if there's a good chance he stops the shots. And then he parries it decently. Well, there's a good chance he stops them, but he doesn't catch them that often. And when he parries it decently, but he's going to take ages to recover. On the whole, it's not great, to be honest. Just these two in particular. Like, with the bad parrying, it's a disaster because he's also typically parrying it to places that aren't great. But just the fact that he's going to take so long to recover is not ideal at all. Having said that, we do need a backup keeper. So I think he probably ends up graduating anyway. But unless we happen to come across a better one in today or tomorrow, that's it. So this striker, he's finished. He got 57 composure. That was the last reveal, so that's great. That's really great because he's got 59. He's actually got some really good stuff here. Some really low physicals, but the speed is good. And the dribbling is good. Finishing, long shots, composure is good, passing is decent. I think this guy has a future for us. It's not great that he's so weak, that he's so poor in the air, that he doesn't have endurance, but he's got quite a lot of stuff here to actually work with to fit him into tactics and stuff. So potentially, obviously, he needs to develop as well. Determination, so it's not really low, it's not high, it's just decent, it's good. So I think this guy will probably end up graduating. This guy, the last one was strength, which is great. Really low endurance, though. But this guy's got some stuff as well. He's got good finishing and dribbling and strength and speed and aerial ability. It's a shame the composure is low, to be honest, and the passing isn't great, which is going to make it hard for him with the type of system that we play. But ultimately, if he also has, say, striker, and he could develop into a striker, he could develop into a DC. But I think with this, ideally, he could be both, and then have that tactical flexibility off the bench. Composure's good. Passing's only 37. That's such a shame. We were so hoping. I mean, it could be worse, to be honest. At least 37 is like, it could become something. If it was something like 15 or whatever, it's just, we couldn't use him. It's not ideal that it's so low. Because, I've never seen a player that has 460s in a row like this, especially 460s and then a 59. That's kind of crazy. Just having that, and it's not even just random attributes. Four of these 5 work really well together. In particular, the endurance and natural fitness and the speed and the work rate. All of that stuff really complements each other. Probably ends up graduating anyway, just because we're unlikely at this late juncture to find anything better than these guys, I would imagine. He's only got 9 passing. Otherwise, he's looking pretty good, but 9 passing is just a killer for our tactic yet again. This guy could be an option. We'll come back and review him properly in a sec. We'll just see if there's anybody else. I don't think... If we used AMLs, this guy could be pretty good because he's like fast and got good crossing and decent dribbling, decent finishing, decent long shots. I think these two in particular, crossing and long shots, they don't work that great together because you want him wide for the crossing and you want him central for the long shots. So it's not ideal. He's pretty good though, to be honest, but you just don't use AML. So is this guy actually better than the keeper we've got? I'm not sure about that. I think the shot stopping is way lower. The parrying is way higher. The agility is still super low. I think I prefer the one we've got. It's pretty close. So in the end, I think it's mostly just this guy. So in particular, he can't tackle, which is kind of an issue for us. We want our central midfielders to be able to tackle. Having said that, most of the other stuff, like he's not that great at finishing either. So he's actually just not particularly ideal for us. And he's also got low work rate, low endurance, low natural fitness. So for us, he's just exclusively coming off the bench, pretty much. And then it's also the case that if you're holding a lead, if you've got a lead and you want to hold it, he's not coming on because he can't tackle. If you're chasing a lead and you need to score, he's not ideal for that either because he just doesn't have particularly good goal scoring attributes versus the dedicated, substitution you're going to do to try to score a goal later on. So I'm not really quite sure. He can help. The passing and the vision and stuff is good to help with the possession retention, and he's good at the aerial ability is good, the dribbling is good, strength is good. He's pretty good at keeping the ball, both in terms of dribbling and in terms of passing. But yeah, I just don't. I think ultimately he's been compared against this guy. I think that's the swap you're going to do. This guy isn't... See, this guy, for example, you could bring him on... I mean, the thing is, ideally this guy's starting as well. And he's also only got 7 determination. It's hard, because I honestly don't think either of these guys really have much of a future. This guy's only got 1 in marking and 26 in aerial ability, so he can't even really convert to a centre-half. He could potentially convert to the wide midfielder role we have, the more defensive one. He could potentially be that, like the up and back one. It's just a shame the passing is a bit low for that. But the aerial ability is less of an issue for a player out wide like that, and the dribbling becomes more useful. That dribbling and strength becomes more useful. He could potentially become that. Whereas this guy, I'm just not sure what he actually could become. This is the issue. So I think we'll stick with the guys we've got. Just specifically, I'm not sure how he develops. Like I'm saying, like he's only ever going to be a substitute because of this really low endurance and natural fitness, and it's just like I don't know under what match circumstances he's going to be coming on, pretty much, except for where like all you want to do is retain possession. But I just don't. Which, if that's true, it probably means you're winning. So I'm just not quite sure under what circumstance where you're winning a match and you're really going to be saying you want to bring on a player to help retain possession like this. That can't tackle, basically, when you're trying to hold a lead. Like, it's a stretch, I think. So basically, the goal scoring prowess needs to be higher, and then he could be a player you bring on when you need a goal, sure. But yeah, like I was saying, he isn't really that. I don't think he can really become that. Maybe maybe. I don't know. I guess the other option is this wide midfielder thing, but that doesn't really take advantage of his aerial ability that much. It'd be the more attacking one, so maybe a little bit. Because like if it's a more attacking one, the through balls would come, and he has got decent crossing, good dribbling, good strength, good speed, good. Okay, so he could be the more attacking wide midfielder. Sure, it doesn't really take advantage of his high marking, but it takes mostly advantage of everything else. So I think that's okay. I mean, it is also the case that this 7 determination isn't ideal. But even then, like, probably you'd just rather this guy for the more up and back. The more up and back wide midfielder is generally harder to find than the more attacking one anyway. This guy, for example, could just be the more attacking one as well. But I do like the really high dribbling, high speed, high strength players in those wide midfielder roles, because they quite often do have to beat a tackle to create anything significant. So I quite like that. And this guy's got 55, 59, 56, which is good. And this guy has got 60, 60, 55, so they're both really good for that. Interestingly, it's now ended up, and I think this guy is just really good goal scoring, tackling, passing. I think we can't not have this guy. He's almost like perfect for box to box. So I think we're left with, and this striker I think we're really okay with. I think this keeper, like we're saying, isn't ideal. How old's the so he's only 17 anyway, so ideally the keeper graduates at the end of the season when he's 18, so ideally we don't even need a keeper yet anyway. So what I'm inclined to do at this point is to go to our academy trials and just move this keeper out, because I just don't think he can ever become anything with this 2 agility, which was just I think it was the second last one revealed. Like I said, we haven't had a lot of time lately, unfortunately, so I think we're just going to get rid of him. We're going to bring this guy in. Okay, right. And now we can go look at the scouter players. He's pretty decent, but we don't use fullbacks. Don't think we quite use this player at the moment, but it is a type of player we might have considered very early on. This 29 speed is just too slow, I think, for us. Just compared to with our tactic, we don't really want to. We're kind of settled. I think we're not using a deep defensive line. We have strong other centre halves at the moment, which we can get to after. So I think we'd pass on this guy for now, but he's the type of player we definitely would have considered early on. I think just there's a lot to work with here. In that he's really good at tackling and marking and aerial ability. That's quite a lot to work with. The passing super low and the vision super low, which is a major issue for our tactic as well. And something we've been trying to avoid. We managed to. At one point we had recruited some players with lower passing in various positions, and it really hurts the flow of the. When you're trying to keep possession, so to speak, to some degree. It's not obviously entirely true, but to some degree, it's like your possession retention capability as a squad is kind of only as strong as your weakest link. I appreciate that's not entirely true, but there is a little bit of truth in that type of statement. Like, you can have a whole bunch of players with really high passing, but if you happen to have one that the ball's, ends up going to all the time who just keeps losing it, then it kind of undoes a lot. So it does not like everyone has to be brilliant, but you don't want these super weak links, I don't think. So when you're looking at players like this, you don't need 80 passing in your centre halves, but you really don't want something like 10 passing, or 20 passing. You really want to try and get at least whatever, right? 50 or whatever it may be. got some decent MCs at the moment, which we'll get to. So right now, it's really the case that it's the auctions where we're likely to find players, but we want to save our money to look at the auctions on the start of the month, because that's when you get the best players typically. We actually had seen some decent strikers the last few days, and that were very close, like strikers that we would have just happily gotten most of our journey, but just not quite now. They're not quite with where our team's at. So yeah, so that's that for the daily loot. As I said, there's no training options for today. We're going to play some matches, and then we're going to do a season roundup. Cheers.